Hello my friends, not a good news, but Biden said that they will not supply F-16 fighter jets to Ukrainian army. However, they may supply those fighter jets to European colleagues, and those countries may supply fighter jets to Ukraine. As it was announced by the Lockheed Martin, the producer of those airplanes, and even President of France Macron said that he is not excluding the delivery of the fighter jets to Ukraine. You see, Europeans agreed, United States said no, but United States will supply those fighter jets to European colleagues. Yes, I'm sure it's going to be like that, and the President of France said that Ukraine should not use the fighter jets to attack the Russian Federation. And now, as you can see, we are already speaking about the conditions for Ukraine to use the fighter jets, and that's why we're coming to some sort of the logical conclusion. Also from the Ukrainian side, we got the information from our officials that it was agreed that the United States and other partners will supply Ukraine with the fighter jets. For example, the chief of the President's office of Ukraine said that Poland is ready to supply F-16s fighter jets, again our European allies. And Chancellor Scholz said about the useless requests from some of the politicians who asked to send the fighter jets to Ukraine, so Scholz criticized those politicians for the wrongdoing. But he hasn't said no, he said that this question needs the serious argument. He said that we should avoid the political motives in supplying Ukraine with military support. Scholz is very interesting. He plays the role of the no guy for the Western politics. He speaks with Putin sometimes, he says no thanks to Ukraine, and after everything delivered to Ukraine from the Germany side, so thank you Germany for your kind support. It's gonna happen to the airplanes as well. No, okay, yes. But you see, Joe Biden also decided to play this role. However, I think he afraid also of escalation because United States is the nuclear country and they want to supply the fighter jets to Ukraine, but they gonna make it through the European countries. Yes, France and UK, they have some nukes, but not as many as United States. So they want to minimize this level of escalation that could lead to the World War III. Supplying fighter jets is a real game changer, and they do afraid that the Ukrainian army would use those jets to target even Moscow. Because looking at the Russian defense on their territory, they're just useless. Again, my advice for Ukrainians and Ukrainian supporters, no panic, just keep calm and support Ukraine and we'll have everything. Jens Stoltenberg said that Russia is getting ready for one more attack on Ukraine. My friends, it's just a useless move from the Russia if they would dare to do it. Last week I told you in one of my videos from the logical perspective why Russia would not dare to attack Ukraine, but it seems like Russian leader will put everything on more escalation, and that new attack would just put the end for the Russian Federation existence. In one of my future videos I'll tell you about it. So even though Russia may collect around 200,000 soldiers, the attack would be useless in that case as well. Yeah, more about the F-16 fighter jets. The Prime Minister of Poland actually said that Poland is ready to supply F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine in coordination with other NATO countries. Right, my friends, I just want to share the news that Biden refused to supply the fighter jets to Ukraine. I have my own Telegram channel. I just posted it over there, and I constantly update the information over there because I have the phone with me all the time and I monitor the news. So please subscribe for my Telegram to be in touch. The link is in the video description below. The Washington Post article about the China relation with Russia and the Ukrainian situation, it's quite interesting, and they say that China actually got some profit from this conflict because China now gets very cheap resources from the Russian Federation, oil, gas and others. But there is also the other part. You see, Russia is political ally for China and they want to keep Putin in power, and if the war continues continues for a long time, there is the great risk for Russia and Putin's regime to collapse. If you go back in time for around 30 years, you will understand that Russia mainly was pro-Western country. There were even talks about joining NATO and the European Union. But it all changed rapidly after the ex-KGB agents got the power. And with that KGB mindset, what they did is they destroyed their country, their economy. For what? Kadyrov again with his speech, man, you should eat less and move more. Just look at your cheeks. If you didn't know, Kadyrov actually was fighting against the Russian forces in Chechnya. It was around 20 years ago that he was running and shooting with his AK. His father was a really important person by that time and was well recognized around Chechen community. So Chechnya was fighting for independence and finally failed. Because after Putin got his power, he gathered more forces and attacked Chechnya. But the defeat of the Chechnya, or you may call it Ichkeria if we speak about the independent state, the defeat wouldn't be possible without Kadyrov's family. Basically, Kadyrov started to work with the Russian army betraying their own people. As an exchange, they now have the unlimited power in this region. So now what Kadyrov is saying that Poland and other allies didn't support Chechnya in its war for independence. So he blames the Western country for their loss. It means that he wants to take the revenge over the Western countries because he had to betray his own country to go on the Russian side. No logic. Our commander of the air forces said that we need around 180 F-16 fighter jets. It's impossible. Honestly, I don't think that we're gonna have that number in nearby perspective. Maybe our officials say it like that just to have at least 30 airplanes. 180. Well, everything may happen, but that number is really huge. The UK Defense Minister Ben Wallace said that tanks will be delivered to Ukraine till the summertime. Well, it's quite late. I think our Western allies should decide whether they want Ukraine to win or they just want this war to continue as long as possible, because 14 tanks is not much. Delivery that far, it's useless. Well, not completely, but Putin by that time will prepare his own resources and for sure they will try to attack Ukraine once again. And with the lack of the military equipment, we're just gonna lose many more lives of Ukrainian soldiers. As for example happened 3 days ago, Major Danila Murashko lost his life while performing his duty on attack airplane Sukhoi Su-25. He was attacked by the Russian fighter jet with an air-to-air missile. Unfortunately, he didn't eject from the airplane and he lost his life. During this war, he destroyed around 80 enemy vehicles, around 30 tankers, those are refueling trucks, and 600 occupiers. Yeah, 24 years old and already passed away. We need modern equipment for our army, which has been partially sent today to Ukraine. Here we speak about the 60 Bradley's vehicles, and they will travel to the Black Sea on this ferry. You can see the loading process of those vehicles. Here we have extra armor, it's great. Plus, there is the agreement between France and Australia to produce more artillery shells for Ukraine. So France will produce the shells and Australia will produce the powder for those shells. My friends, this video is very funny. This is the Russian propaganda TV saying that Americans should join not the United States Army, but the Wagner group. You may check my Telegram channel to check out this video, and who knows, maybe you will be so influenced that you would like to join the Wagner group. And this is the video from UK. So guys on a training there, you can see Chinook helicopter also there, and our guys together with instructors, maybe from UK or maybe other countries. So on top of Ukrainian army experience, we'll also have the best training in the world, so no one will stop this army. About the artillery shells that the United States produce, they produce the special shells with GPS antennas that increases the precision of the ammunitions. So those are not Excalibur shells or something, those are much cheaper. That is why United States may produce them massively, so they want to produce around 100,000 of those shells and partially deliver those to Ukraine. Russia tried to design the analog, they call it Cosmos, but cancel it. And for this moment, Russia is in lack of the high precision, cheap ammunition shells. I just found this article dated on January 4th, and then Biden administration agreed or talked about the Bradley supplies to Ukrainian army, and at the same article there was the quote of Biden saying that they exclude the Abrams supplies to Ukraine. And now we all know that the United States will supply those tanks to Ukrainian army. The same thing will happen to the fighter jets. So here is the video showing the no response from the President of the United States, Joe Biden. He was asked by the journalist about the F-16 supplies, and let's listen and watch.
Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President!
First of all, it was very loud, and he said no, maybe he didn't understand the question, so we don't know the context of that answer. Probably he also heard the part of the question, so really it wasn't his open speech to the press, where usually he got at least the piece of paper with what he should say or what he thinks he should say. Here it's just early to say. Again, my friends, I'm not pro-Biden or pro-Trump. I'm here to discuss the news with you, and the support of United States touches my country, so I'm speaking about it, and that is why I'm speaking about the United States officials, including President of United States. But probably just to trigger your attention, I'm gonna put that thumbnail, Joe Biden saying no to supplies of the fighter jets to Ukraine, the same big screaming title. Because that is how YouTube works, I need to trigger you. This map shows the advancement of the Russian army, the front line for every month. So this is the beginning of the war, the border of the self-proclaimed Republic DPR, and then Russia started the assault, and every month they move forward and forward. This was 6 months ago, this line, and this is today the red line. As you can see, this one is very tricky. They may cut the supplies for the Bakhmut city. Yes, now probably we should discuss the situation on the front lines because we have the latest tactical map update. So this is the Bakhmut city, and as you can see, Russia moved forward from this vector, but now they canceled their attack because it's too risky for them, because Ukrainian army may counterattack and cut the piece of the Russian army encircling it, so they start 2 of the major attacks in the same region just to level off the front line. In that case, it's much harder for Ukrainian army to counterattack. Again, they have 3 of the vectors of their attacks for the city itself, and they went into the residential area on the north. Today I watched and shared on my Telegram channel the video of the evacuation of civilians from this part. My friends, it's very risky. There were some of the foreign volunteers, English speakers. I'm not sure from what country are they, but they were nearly killed by the mortar attack there. According to Ukrainian law, even in this difficult situation, we cannot force people to evacuate, so it's their sole decision. But after all, then they see the tanks are coming or the shells are exploding near to their house, they start to panic and volunteers evacuate them. Sometimes it costs lives for those volunteers. So that's the city itself, and you can see they've took some of the quarters on northern part, penetrating Ukrainian defense lines. Not a good situation out there, but we continue to hold our positions. And the worst case scenario for Russia is they may take this part of the city under their control at first and then cut supplies for the Bakhmut city, and the Ukrainian army would be forced to leave the Bakhmut city, unfortunately. My friends, now press the like to this video. Also, if you want to support this channel financially, there are some links in the video description below. You may support me on Patreon, PayPal, or Donatello, whichever is more convenient for you. Thank you so much for your help, and I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.